Hey guys, welcome to MME Weekly. We hope you're excited for today's show. We have some amazing industry experts here to talk about industry membership. My name is Mike Ferreira. I'm the owner of Meetings Made Easy. And right now we are live on LinkedIn and Facebook. Again, we're going to be talking about industry membership. So if you don't know too much about it or want to join any particular organization, please ask us questions. And you want to make sure you watch the entire show. We're going to learn a lot. And we're also going to be talking about the benefits of why you should join an organization out there. So let me go ahead and introduce our amazing panelists. Today we have Tana Pierman, who's a meeting broker at Meetings Made Easy. How are you doing, Tana?
I am doing phenomenally well. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining, my friend. And then we have Devin Lewis, who's a director of regional sales at the LVCVA, and she is president at the MPI Potomac chapter. Devin, how are you?
I am fantastic and so happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Well, thank you for joining us. And then we have John Rubseman. I hope I pronounced that correctly. He's the senior director of meetings and events at the Americans for the Art, and also he's the president of the PCMA Capital chapter. John, how are you?
Doing great. It's great to be here as well. Good to see you all. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. And then we have Amanda Clark, who is a seasoned meeting professional, but is currently the top free agent out there. Amanda, how are you?
I'm great, Mike. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And then we have Andre Klowinski. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, my friend. He is the Senior Director of Meetings and Business Partnerships at the American Association of Colleges and Pharmacy and Chairman. Andre, how are you?
I am great having me, and I'm honored to be among such an amazing panel of people. So excited for this afternoon.
Thank you so much for joining us. So before we go into individual questions, I just kind of wanted to update everyone on what we're seeing, and especially Tana and I are seeing, is that we've kind of round the corner in our opinion. So we are seeing an increase in RFPs. I think it all comes down to what states you're based in, obviously, but we are seeing it. So I think with the vaccine coming into play and just the time it takes for that to be distributed, we are seeing good results as far as it comes from RFPs. Obviously, hybrid events are going to be taking place as well, but we wanted to share that news because we definitely are all about positivity here, and we want to make sure people know that we feel that we're rounding the corner. So that's fantastic news, and I hope you're excited for what's to come. All right, so now I'm going to go to my good friend, Devin. She's going to share a little bit about herself. And Devin, tell us about your background, your position, how long you've been with MPI, and then I have a couple other questions for you.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Again, I just want to say that I'm super excited to be sharing this panel stage with all of my colleagues and my friends. As you mentioned, in my day job, I'm the Director of Regional Sales for the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, and I manage our East Coast Regional Office. And I am the proud president of the MPI Potomac chapter. This journey started over 22 years ago when I first became a member of Meeting Professionals International. I was a member of many chapters before settling upon the Potomac chapter, and that's been my home chapter for the last 12 years.
That's impressive, my friend. So what services does your chapter and headquarters offer members throughout this whole economic impact of 2020?
So I'm really proud that the MPI Global organization has stepped up to the plate, and every month they offer a variety of different opportunities in terms of joining as a member, renewing as a member. They have somewhat of a hardship program. So if you are displaced or you're furloughed or you're not able to fully pay for the cost of your membership out of your pocket, there are avenues and opportunities in that area. And I think that's so important because as people are trying to figure out this pandemic thing, it's really important to stay engaged and stay connected.
Oh, I agree 100%. I could only imagine just to have individuals around you that you can share the experiences of what you're going through or what's happening in industry is invaluable, my friend. So I can only imagine. And how's everything in Las Vegas? I know I live here, but from your perspective in your neck of the woods, any information on what's to come, maybe anything new, exciting happening?
I think the exciting things about Las Vegas is even during this time that we are quiet, if you will, there has still been construction going on. There's still been new build going on. So I'm really happy to report that when we are on the backside of this and we do have our planner partners and our conference partners coming back into the city, we've got a lot of new and exciting things to show for this downtime.
I know what you mean. I'm so excited, and there's so many things happening right now in this city. So I think you and I are very lucky to, well, I live in Las Vegas and you get to sell Las Vegas. So I think you have the better job. But
I love it. I know you love it because you live there, but I truly love it because I feel like it's the best of both worlds. I get to live on the East Coast, but I get to sell and play on the West Coast, which, some people there call it the best coast. So, it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, I might agree with them. But thank you, Devin, so much. We'll come back to you with the group questions. I'm going to jump to John now. John, if you could kind of share your background, your position, and how long you've been with PCMA, and maybe for the viewers out there, if they're not too familiar with PCA, kind of give them a little bit tidbit about the organization.
Sure. John Ripsamen, I'm the Senior Director of Meetings and Events at Americans for the Arts. I've been there for 9 years now. And I've been active within PCMA National for over 10 years and within the Capital Chapter as well. Worked my way through engagement with being part of committees and then chairing committees. Served on the board of directors and currently serve as the president of the Capital Chapter, which services about roughly 20 to 25% of the entire global PCMA membership. So it's been an exciting journey. It's good stuff.
I can only imagine. So for the PCMA Capital Chapter, how did you guys pivot in 2020? I mean, what were some of the things that you learned, or some of the educational components that happened throughout the year?
Sure. So we had already set up for an ambitious year of change innovation, kind of incorporating new technologies. And, as disruption goes, not in the way that we ended up doing it in 2020. But, it's as we kind of went into, the work from home and shutting down our venues and needing to cancel, we did a quick assessment of what do people need, what are you hearing, kind of exchanging that information and really evaluating what those needs were, which was a lot of resources. What's closed? What can you do? What can't you do? How do you cancel these contracts, or do you have to use cancellation? Is force majeure enacted? Really, what is force majeure? We hear it, we're familiar, but not everybody really kind of had that full scope of what it is, and it was kind of translated very creatively. So helping people define those areas, get resources as to what's open, what's restricted, and then also, looking at, as things started to shut down and unfortunately people were beginning to get furloughed and laid off, is making those connections. What's next? How do we, ensure that they remain engaged and remain informed as we go through this really uncertain period?
What were some of the biggest, maybe silver linings or educational points that maybe you learned throughout the whole past year?
Yeah, there's been so much. I think one of the silver linings is the chapter really learned, and I saw not only even on the chapter, but as an industry, how agile we can be. We are a creative industry at heart, and we are people focused. So first, I think we really engaged with people, and that was critical. We needed to provide those resources, but also our ability to kind of change and use everybody's knowledge and what we were learning and putting that into moving all of our programming online, really taking a look at what we were charging as we were meeting the needs, because people were hitting some financial crises, and kind of reevaluating our pricing, providing access to a lot of our resources, doing biweekly lunch and learns that hit on essential topics so that they were relevant, current, and immediate. And that really was one of the most amazing things, is that we always have that ability to kind of crisis manage and adapt as an industry and as a chapter. So it's really one of the silver linings.
That's fantastic. I can't even imagine. I mean, being able to have access to all those professionals and be able to discuss, and learn from each other is phenomenal. In Las Vegas, we don't have PCMA or MPI, but I mean, I can only imagine. I wish that there was something where I could join in an organization like that. I bet there are now organizations that I can join virtually, but hopefully one day we'll have a chapter here in Las Vegas. So, John, thank you so much.
Sure.
Then we'll jump to Amanda. Amanda, if you could share a little bit about yourself, your background, and how long you've been involved with PCMA.
Yep. First of all, I just want to say thanks again for inviting me to be on this panel of these awesome people. I'm delighted to be here today, so thank you again. About myself, I've been a planner in the meetings industry just over 20 years. And I don't know what benchmark you reach that makes you seasoned, but I've somehow reached that. So here I am. The bulk of my career has been spent serving members and associations, primarily local government officials, and most recently state government officials. As far as being involved with PCMA, I've been a member since 2004. And renewed my membership every year, been very dedicated, very appreciative for all that PCMA does. I have to say, when I joined, it was due to the encouragement of my boss at the time. And, she was a member, was always speaking very highly of the value and the educational opportunities, the networking, which is probably the most valuable of all. And so I think that says a lot too. And as I've become a supervisor over the years, I've also encouraged my teammates to, get involved, become members of, MPI, PCMA, AMPS, ASAE, all of those. It's just great value for professionals.
How do you think PCMA helped you towards your future goals? And how is it helping you right now, returning to find your next chapter in your life?
It's really been amazing, and joining the ranks of those who were displaced in this industry. First of all, we offer each other so much support, and there's so much value in that. Just knowing that you're not alone, and sharing with each other of strategies of looking for that next move, reskilling, learning new skills, taking advantage of those education opportunities. And PCMA has really stepped up to the plate. I mean, during times of crisis, membership in associations just becomes so much more valuable. And I can't say enough about what PCMA has done for me personally. Starting with, I was able to renew my membership at a very deep discounted rate. And that meant a great deal because I did want to stay engaged, but, finances obviously are an issue. And then also, offering all of those networking components, as John mentioned, the lunch and learns, the chapter level engagement opportunities. I applied for and was awarded a scholarship to attend the annual PCMA Convening Leaders Conference, which took place earlier this month. And I was so grateful to get that scholarship. And it was, again, a great way to just network with folks. I got to meet some new folks around the country. And again, just the value of that is so important. I'm also enrolled in the DES course, the Digital Event Strategist course, which, again, PCMA is just offering some great discounts and complimentary opportunities to folks in my situation. so, not having that workplace connection and having that PCMA connection still there for me is so great for me right now.
The DES course, I took that and completed it. It is a phenomenal course. I think everybody in the event industry should take that and get certified. Not necessarily meaning because you might have to put on a virtual event or a hybrid. I assume everyone eventually will, but just learning a new skill to me was phenomenal to understand the virtual world and the hybrid world. So I think that course is phenomenal. I can't say enough about it. So I bet you're learning a lot right now, my friend.
I am. And again, it goes to that piece of staying relevant. Without these professional organizations, that piece just wouldn't be as strong. It's, I feel like I'm staying relevant. I'm keeping up with the latest industry trends, and it's great.
And I bet you and everyone here on the panel, meet people, and then these long-lasting friendships, start to build, and then next thing you know, you probably have friends for life, I would assume, correct?
Absolutely. That's another advantage to becoming a member. And, that peer-to-peer connection, once you get outside of your own organization and just connecting with peers who are working in the same industry you are. I mean, some folks who are planners work in an organization where they may be the only planner, or they may have a very small team. And so getting to connect with others who are doing what you're doing, sharing frustrations, sharing successes, it all really just adds to the whole experience.
So I have to ask you, I am not an MPI member or PCMA member, and I know that's that's embarrassing for me to admit, but I'll just take it. What advice would you give to me, or maybe someone out there that's not a member of these phenomenal organizations? Who do I reach out to? What do I expect? Like, how do I get the most value out of becoming a member?
That's a great question, and luckily, all of these organizations offer non-member prices if you want to try it out, attend a seminar, attend a webinar, go to a networking reception. I think that's a great way to get your feet wet and just see what it's all about. And, when people ask me, especially, folks new in the industry, what bits of advice I would have for them, I always say join one of these organizations. The return you will get is just invaluable. And again, it's the networking, it's that peer-to-peer connection, and staying relevant and up on the latest of what's going on in the industry.
Yeah, and I would assume this would probably be, these organizations would have the insight on, jobs or opportunities becoming, that could basically come out, or maybe have the insider feed, or like, how the industry works, where, someone that works for this organization, can you give them a good word? Can you get me in, get me to the interview, stuff like that. So I assume there's those type of positions or opportunities available if you are in these organizations, I would assume.
Definitely. And we're always, we all look out for each other. That's another nice thing about it is, I've got folks keeping their eyes and ears open for me. I'm doing the same for others. And definitely that's a strong connection.
Thank you. Well, my friend, I'm going to come back to you when we get to the group questions. I'm going to jump to my Brazilian brother, Andre. Andre, share us a little bit about yourself, my friend, your background, and how long you've been involved with ANPS. And then I have a couple other questions for you.
No, absolutely. And I'll keep, my background is, as Mike pointed out, I'm Brazilian as well. Brazilian born, raised, moved around many other countries, ended up here in the US in 2006. That's kind of the short of it. Got involved in the association world early on and everything, and have been a member since 2009, and a dedicated member at that as well. And I have to say, I've been also a dedicated member of PCMA as well, because there's value in all those other industry associations that we have out there. So
So it's a unique organization, and you're based in Alexandria. How many people are not familiar with this organization? Also, what are your members doing to help each other throughout this past year?
No, absolutely. Yes. So we were created in 1982 as a local organization, kind of primarily dedicated to professionals in the greater Washington, D.C. area, Virginia, Maryland, and the district itself. When the pandemic hit and we all kind of went into that lockdown and meetings started, just live meetings just started going away, we took a hard look at what we were doing at that time and what AMPS stood for. And one of the first things that we decided to do was drop our membership fees down to $20 for the year.
Oh, wow.
We called it like a $20 for 2020 type thing. Recognizing that so many of our friends and families, I consider you all like an extension of my family. We're hurting a little bit, right? Budgets, people were furloughed, people were being laid off, the uncertainty of the future. So we decided to do that as one of the benefits for our members, so that to ensure that they still can be a part of what we do. And on top of that, one of the things that AMPS does that's unique is we do have monthly education meetings. They're all included in your membership fee. So you don't pay anything extra to attend those monthly meetings. Additionally, on top of that, a few days after the monthly meetings, we do what we call the amplified community conversations, where we usually have the speaker or the speakers that gave the monthly education session come in for an informal chat for people who want to kind of explore a certain topic that we may have addressed a little bit deeper. Again, creating that sense of community around it as well. We also do a monthly wellness program. We do a 5K, kind of a walk, jog, if you will. If you want to, it's outdoors, it's safe. We keep our socially distanced amongst one another. But again, it creates that kind of community. We can see each other, even if it's from a distance, and walk together, if you will, right? And then we also do happy hours on a regular basis, and we do have special events as well. So what we're trying to do is just keep our members engaged, keep those conversations going, support one another, help the ones that need help, and like what John was saying, we've all learned so many new things, and we have so many frustrations from this past year. To really support each other in the best practices of us sitting here and trying to deliver these virtual meetings, right? It's a whole new ball game, so to speak.
So, Andre, what's your prediction for the future? What are you feeling? Like, how did you end 2020 as an organization? What can the audience expect?
We ended it up very strongly. Our membership did grow, mind you, obviously, because we did drop our membership fees tremendously. So now we actually span domestically. I'm happy to report that our membership is about 60% planners, but I have planners now from Chicago, from Las Vegas, and hopefully future members as well, Mike Hinton. Kind of branching that. So we ended up the year strong. We have a phenomenal education committee that works really, really hard at finding those relevant topics of what's coming up. And, with the vaccine and kind of some positive indicators out there, I do believe that by end of this year, we will start seeing something of a normalcy coming back. A new normal. We're not going to go back to what we were, in my opinion, but a new normal will come back in. And one of the things that I am particularly excited about what AMPS is doing is we are moving forward with our May golf tournament. So for those that are interested in joining, it's May 7th. We're very excited about that. It's all going to be held outdoors, obviously, keeping guidelines and all of that, but super excited, again, to bring people face to face. I think we're all a little bit over seeing each other across the screen.
Yes, that is true. 100%, definitely. Well, Andre, thank you so much. I'm going to jump to Tana now and then get back to you, obviously, with group questions. Tana, my friend, how are you?
Hi.
You've obviously, you're part of all three of these organizations. What have you experienced throughout the benefits of having all these memberships?
I have to say I'm very fortunate. And for those people out there where there is not an MPI PCMA chapter, or AMPS, obviously, since they're regional based typically, you don't have to have a chapter to get involved. You can join any chapter you want to across the United States. So I have been fortunate to be involved in a chapter of MPI in Colorado and in Georgia, and then ultimately Washington, D.C. So I really believe in membership, and it doesn't just go with signing your name on a piece of paper and handing them over a check. You need to get involved and experience what it is that organization has to offer. So get involved, find something that you enjoy doing. If you like writing, join the communications committee. If you are into marketing, join the marketing. And they don't have to be hours and hours and hours of service. They can be 20 minutes. Maybe you're the person who pushes out the social media blast for your association. So getting involved is key to really knowing people, right? Like you can pay the money and join and be a member, and you don't get to experience any of this stuff. So Amanda and I have been friends since before I moved to Reno. I think we tried to figure 2003 or something that we met. And we have served together in different capacities all along that way. She's introduced me to other PCMA members. She's helped me to plug in where I couldn't plug in before. And had we not continued that relationship jointly within an organization, I don't know that we would have had the strength of our relationship that we do. So just finding those friends and really becoming involved with them is super important. And it doesn't matter what organization you join an organization and find the value. For me, I feel incredibly fortunate to have had the $20. I took advantage of that. PCMA has taken very good care of me. I've been able, and many of you know that I was unfortunately downsized during this process. So everybody has helped me along the way. MPI just sent me, I get to keep my tenure, have a reduced dollar amount, and go ahead and sign up. So I'll keep all 3 memberships just to keep those relationships going. I had another point, and it was really brilliant, but it's gone.
It's okay, my friend. This is the beauty of virtual. And I know I tell you all to be authentic and genuine, and hey, this happens. No problem at all. So, how did these organizations you connected in a year when people found themselves disconnected?
Yes, see, that was perfect. That's all I need.
I have your back, my friend.
So, as a salesperson, your brain is your database, right? And so I've been fortunate to maintain a pretty decent cell phone brain for a really long time. But cell phones fail and numbers and things get lost. It's much easier when you belong to an organization, right? So it's like, oh my gosh, how do I contact my friends? How do we continue these conversations and relationships? And that is how those organizations have helped me continue them, because I was already very firmly established and I had that information through my membership. So I could reach out to my past friends, colleagues, and people and have these sad discussions that now are not so sad anymore, right? Like we have some drive and we're moving forward. And but it was great to be able to have those people to go to. Did that answer that question?
Oh, I mean, phenomenal, my friend. This is amazing. So we have a couple questions, guys. Angie Roman with Caesars Entertainment. I love Angie. She's saying, is the MPI will host virtual components for out-of-town members? I assume the answer is yes, but I'll let you guys go ahead and answer that one.
So I'll take this one. I mean, absolutely, Angie. Each chapter puts on their own currently virtual events right now. Some people are lucky enough if they're in locations that are open. They're also doing in-person events. It really is just a matter of checking out a few of the chapter websites to see what events that they have coming on. But there's always something that's going on in terms of networking or education with MPI, PCMA, AMPS, and the whole like. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and you know you're my girl. So if you want to know anything, just give me a call.
See, we're already networking and making a friend. And Devin, I have another one for you. It's from Damara about MPI offering memberships.
So again, our foundation also has been awarding free memberships for a year Some of the chapters at the chapter level, they have been offering discounted rates as well. If you want to be a member, we'll figure out how to help you become a member so that it is not as taxing on your pocket and you're able to immediately start to reap the benefits of being a member. Call me.
I love this. We're helping people right now. This is so, oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, let's group questions, my friend. This is where we root into the nitty, build that synergy. So I love this aspect of the show. So for everyone out there, obviously we have a lot of individuals that are furloughed right now. In all your opinion, what is like the number one takeaway of why they should go out and reach out to your organization? How can that help them?
I would say, it's in networking, it's knowing what's out there. There's always connections and resources too, trends, seeing where the industry's going so you can evaluate what your next move is. Also, the resources of reskilling, all of us that are planners and even suppliers had to relearn what we do, even if it's long, short, midterm. There's a lot of reskilling. So you hear about people getting re-educated with the DES certification and others that are out there. But those are resources and reskilling that are really critical. And PCMA, kind of took the charge, the foundation that helps with scholarships and providing those, kind of took a challenge to fund the reskilling and increase the amount of scholarships they were providing for convening leaders and scholarships for the certifications, which is kind of an unheard of thing often is getting a scholarship for certification. So those are critical skills that you can get that add value. And as all of us, I think, have done on the national level and at chapter level of a reduction of fees and scholarships and accessibility, because you don't want to leave anybody at the door. And so I think those are really some of the most critical elements as to why it's more, it's essential in any way that you can. And we'll take y'all, any one of us will do what we can to make sure that you guys are staying with us and staying on board and active.
I agree with right. I just wanted to add on how important these organizations are and kind of helping you maintain also your skill set as well and staying involved. It is so critical. And expanding your networks, really. I mean, that's really going to facilitate you expanding network, especially during these times.
I think Tana and Amanda's relationship is a testament to what Andre and John have just said. You can have a relationship for a season or for a lifetime. It just depends on you and how much you work at it and what you put into it. But the relationship between the two ladies seemed to have morphed out of a genuine need. And they both had different needs, but they found their way together, and they've been able to progress all these years and be of assistance to one another, whether it be in a time of need or not. But I think the key to it all is to be engaging and to find someone that can be a lifelong friend and can be a lifelong resource to be able to help you through times like furloughs, but also times where you want to celebrate that new job that you have. So I think that's really key.
I have to echo that. And not just, Amanda and I are great friends, but golly, how many friends we have in this industry, right? I mean, that Facebook page that blew up because one person decided we needed to come together and everybody did, and just listening to each other and being there for each other. You can do that more microscopically when you're involved in an organization. PCMA has an amazing forum voice. MPI has a great bulletin board. So the way that people share with each other, and people they'll never meet, people that they just want to know, what about this platform? Or they just want to know, what are you doing to move your virtual meetings forward? So there are a lot of resources that are outside of even that personal contact. There's job boards on all of the web pages. So ways for people to be able to engage outside of even the personal side, and just taking advantage of those items.
Yeah.
Are there tools? This is more of like a question just for myself. Are there tools that could maybe like help someone's career or job or anything like that? Maybe like a website where they can go to, something.
Yeah, I think each of us all of the organizations on the national levels have job boards that are out there, and we've also provided those various resources on our website, even outside of the chapter, and created kind of networks that are there. The other that we've done, and this is kind of an example of where, like, you've got, some major organizations that are on, and we're all friends. I've known the folks on this panel for years. While we're serving similar markets or the same market, we have different feels or different methods of communicating or different focuses. One of the greatest things that we've done is, as an industry, and with 6 of the local chapters in the Metro DC areas, we came together and said, there's a need here, that's beyond just any one of our chapters. And we developed last year a conglomeration called the Coalition of Hospitality and Meeting Professionals, Mid-Atlantic Coalition of Hospitality and Meeting Professionals, and that was something that we did to work together to address those needs and bridge. So if there were folks that were unable to, for any reason, or weren't a part of our memberships, create a resource for the industry as a whole to get people back to work, to communicate what jobs might be coming available. And so we have a LinkedIn page, and that's our main source. We kept it simple. We meet on a regular basis to kind of exchange where we're at and what we can do, where the needs are. And that's how we work together as an industry and kind of interconnect and make sure that the memberships are connected. We are one family. That's the best part about our industry. In the end, we're in this together. And together we can really help out the industry a lot better. So that's one of my favorite parts about working with everybody.
And speaking of family, I assume that these organizations now, because what we went through in the past year, you guys are all working together now. Is that a common occurrence? Does that usually happen?
We've always been working together, coming together to produce fantastic networking opportunities for all of our members. 1 time, 2 times a year. For the Global Meetings Industry Day, that's another opportunity where we come together as one, and we offer education. We do some appointments on the Hill, and then we try to end the day with a nice reception so that we're able to network and kind of kick back. But that's kind of the beauty of being in this Mid-Atlantic area. You've got a lot of choices of great organizations that you can belong to, and joining one over the other it's not a bad thing. And if you're able, like Tana, to be so fortunate to have memberships to multiple organizations, I mean, all the better. We all offer something unique and different, but at numerous times throughout the year, we come together as one.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
So what are you all planning to do coming out of 2020? What is the future for 2021 and beyond? Is there any organizational goals right now that you're keeping a secret from anybody? I mean, what are you guys seeing? What's the plans for the future?
That's a great question, Mike. I wish we all had a little crystal ball right now to predict that. But so for AMPS, I'll speak on behalf of AMPS. Again, we're going to stay focused on delivering member benefits, education, a sense of community. As John mentioned earlier, the whole CHAMPS entity that was created, it's to create synergies among our associations and really to create a community rallying around all our members. So it just keeps things strong and hopefully be meeting in person sooner rather than later.
Yeah, the same. It's a lot of monitoring what's going on. I hate the P word. I won't say it, but we remain agile, if you will, because there's no straight course. So you have to be ready to be flexible. So we've designed a lot of our education to be that, to have the ability to be short term, like with our lunch and learn features. And so we'll do larger quarterly education, but this is going to be kind of constant and relevant. You know, our overall theme is recovery, opportunity, and innovation. And this is a real opportunity to have both suppliers and planners work together on innovating what we do for the future. And we've not had this kind of a reset button. This is one of the biggest silver linings that I see through all this, to really innovate. You know, you've been stripped of all the kind of weight of before, and you've got a whole brand new foundation to build on for our event. So let's take that opportunity, learn from each other, educate, and get into this new hybrid, you know, in person. How do we create more access? There's a lot of opportunity that's going to come out of this if we seize it right. So that is one of our main focuses in the coming year or two.
I agree with you 100%. We actually have a question for the panel from Michael. Anyone can jump in at any time.
John.
Yeah, that looks like it won some. Hi, Michael. Good to see you. Yeah, this did happen this was on the global PCMA level. But they had acquired SEMA because there was a synergy there. You know, I think you're seeing a lot of partnerships because we have commonalities, but there's also very distinct areas of service. So where there's synergy in a lot of different, you'll see some consolidation, but I think it's where you see benefits. So SEMA and PCMA, when we get to this digital realm, like, marketing is more important than ever, especially for event marketing. You know, even outside, when you're on the association level or corporate level, there are a lot of events out there. So having and showing the importance between marketing and event planning and that strategic plan is critically aligned. So I think it's a really smart move. And I think you'll see that with other organizations as well. So I think you're going to see some conglomeration, but it's going to be very strategic to make sure that those items align, that the memberships align, and that it's a good thing for the memberships of two or multiple organizations as they come together. So that's not a bad question. It'll be interesting to see what happens, but it's all about synergies and kind of maximizing. Now we're in such a fast technology age.
Perfect. I hope that answered your question, Mike. I think this one is going to be more slated for you, Amanda. How do you stay relevant as a professional during this time? And if anyone else wants to answer this question as well, because I think our audience, everyone is trying to figure out is how do you stay relevant because we can't meet face to face?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are tons of resources out there. And again, that's where these member-based organizations really aid in knowing what resources are out there, because we share with each other. And in addition to taking advantage of what PCMA's been doing, which has been amazing, as I already mentioned, you know, there's other free education, online education tools out there to stay relevant, to stay up to date on you know, what's happening and what are we thinking of looking towards the future. I mean, I'm not promoting any particular module or tool or anything, but you know, I've happened to take several free training courses through Cvent and gotten certifications from them. You know, I learned from someone else that Eventbrite actually has lots of great free webinars and educational kind of content related things on there. You wouldn't necessarily think Eventbrite has this, but they do. LinkedIn, you know, there's a lot of great educational pieces on there. It's just, you know, keeping your eyes open, sharing with each other what's out there, because there is a ton. And especially when we're all just sitting in our homes and our offices online, you know, we have to take advantage of all these things, and they are out there. So, you know, share with each other and just keep looking around.
I assume that all organizations have their own individual chapter, like Facebook pages and LinkedIn pages, correct?
Yes.
I find those probably being the most beneficial for me personally, to be able to log in and see, you know, what's on in chat, being able to communicate with people immediately. I find especially like Facebook groups, and I think a lot of people Might be a part of them, might not be, but those are individual like areas where I think people might not necessarily pay too much attention to, but they should. And I know Tana and I always talk about this, is those, just because joining those groups, just, it's a quick click on the mouse, get let in, and you have access to all this information, and there's a lot of sharing going on. So I think that's really beneficial. And the fact that you guys have these groups or these pages, that's just terrific. I mean, Tana, any thoughts on that?
Oh, I definitely think for people trying to remain relevant, taking advantage of the resources, and we're 3 organizations that we're talking about today, right? You also have ASAE and you have IAE. So whatever it is you're looking for, if you're a huge expo person, IAE probably makes more sense to you. If you're a high-level association representative in an executive director position, maybe you want ASAE. So there are a lot of places to find those resources. And then, yes, you're right. Then you take it down and you scale it a little bit and you find the groups on Facebook. Instagram is becoming an amazing source of information. And now I'm becoming a freaky TikTok person. I did not want that in any way, shape, or form. But you can learn so much stuff. I mean, just people sharing little tidbits about what it is they're doing and motivating you. And I don't know, just being a resource. So I think that's how you stay relevant, stay plugged in.
You're dead on. Believe it or not, TikTok, I don't know what it was created for originally, but you can learn so much because people teach just random stuff on there. But yeah, I think TikTok is going to be the platform in the future for sure for the meeting industry. So I agree. That's awesome. Another question I had. So if you are about to become a new member for any one of these phenomenal organizations, what's some great advice? Because personally, I'm asking.
I'll definitely take that one if I can. The best advice that I could offer is get involved. Don't sit on the sidelines. John and I both agree. You got to get off the sidelines and into the game. I'm a big sports person, so I use that analogy a lot. But it truly, the way that transfers is you're going to get out of it what you put into it. So if you just pay the check and you occasionally, participate in something, you don't really meet anybody. And it's, more so prevalent now than ever because we can't meet in person. So, that makes it even more important that you engage and that you connect with someone, even if it's one person that can then help to introduce you to other people. It's so important to open yourself up enough that you can receive what's waiting out there for you. I mean, all of our organizations, we've got volunteers that are eagerly waiting to welcome you into our communities and find out, sometimes to the point where it's almost a little creepy, but, it's literally that we're enthused and we're excited that you have chosen us, and we want to make sure that you get the most out of your membership. The one thing for me as president is at the end of my presidency, and when I, roll off and become past president, if I have any member that comes to me and says, you know what, I really didn't get anything out of my membership during your time of presidency, I think I'd be wounded by that, truly. So it is more important and evident than anything. The time is now. Get involved.
Yeah, I have to agree. We had talked about this a little bit as well. When I first started out at PCMA, one of my mentors that actually engaged me was Kirsten Oline, who's the current chair of PCMA Global, who actually just put something in the chat there. And I remember her being on stage and she said, you will all only get out of your membership as much as you put into it. And then she asked me to join the marketing committee, and that just took off from there. And but it's true, because that's really how you learn. It's almost like active learning. If you're a part of creating these resources and tools and education, you're learning actively learning and you're being a part of that. So it's really been a wonderful thing, especially in quarantine. This is how I stay connected with my people. You know, it's so important, and that's part of our passion. That's what we do. So I agree. You know, like any one of us, just get active, and that's really where you're going to find the major benefit.
Yeah,
Your
I
email
think
inbox is about to explode.
I'll add on to what John was saying is like it really allows you to flex muscles that perhaps you wouldn't be flexing otherwise, right? You're part of a bigger association and industry association, and you get to try out these new and exciting things that you may not have the opportunity to do so at your day job, for example, right? Or if you're furloughed or laid off for some reason, keep those skills sharp. I think that's really critical. I mean, and I know that all of us have committees that would welcome anybody if they wanted to join. Get involved, guys.
Yeah. I just want to echo that. And Tana mentioned the committee piece earlier. You know, folks may think it's too much of a commitment or I don't have the time, but really you can spend as little or as much time as it fits within your schedule. And being on a committee, and I've been on 2 of them, with PCMA, again, the things that people have already covered. You're meeting new people, you're making quality connections because you're spending time with them and you're working on a shared goal together, whatever that committee goal is and the chapter goal as well. And like Andre said, you know, you're working on skills that you aren't getting in your day-to-day job. And for me personally, right now in my situation, as a positive, I have more time to commit to the committee. I'm still on the communications committee, and you know, I'm excited about it because I volunteer more to do things that maybe I didn't have time to do before. But again, it's taking that engagement to the next level of just not being a member, but actually participating in the member goals or the chapter goals, the organization goals, and just getting so much more out of it.
And I'm going to grab that and go back to Devin's comment about also having the connectors, right? So, and I'm going to give a big shout out to Ann Garvey. So if she watches this later on, she'll know there are people that you will meet that are incredible connectors, and they plug you in and then get out of the way. And maybe you are doing yourself a disservice because you're going to be that person down the road who's also a connector. So look at the opportunities that maybe aren't even a full volunteership, but rather somebody who can introduce people and get plugged in different ways than being on a committee. It doesn't have to be that big.
I love it. And before we go, because time has completely flown, we're almost out of time. Thank you so much, all. But where can someone go apply? Is there a link? Is there, just go to Facebook, LinkedIn, maybe email you guys?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Yep.
Mainly the easiest way to find the membership information is you can start with either the MPI or PCMA national website, but you know the information is also on our chapters. It's also on all of our social media. The same with AMPS, SGMP, IAEE, and of course, the panelists here, I mean, we are a wealth of knowledge. So we welcome that, you know, anyone reach out to us with any questions about any of the organizations or how to get involved. We are ready for you. So we need you to be ready for us.
Agree. Anybody that you know that is a member, they'll be able to point you in the right direction. Like you said, websites, and then as you know, social media. Again, I think every single one of us that have either LinkedIn, social, Twitter, our websites are on there, and they will link into our, you know, the chapter and the national organizations, so that you can get your membership going. And as Anna and Amanda have mentioned, you know, all of us are having, you know, we're open, and so are our larger global and national organizations to customizing your membership during these times, because we want to have the industry active and a part of this conversation and innovation.
And Devin, I think MPI, the big annual conference is heading to Vegas this June, correct?
That is correct. So hopefully in June, June 14 through 17, the MPI WEC will be held at Caesars Forum in Las Vegas.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. That's awesome. Well,
and I'm so sorry. And PCMA convening leaders, January 2022, also in Las Vegas at Caesars Forum.
Oh, wow. All right.
It's about to be a big year in Vegas.
Oh, man.
Indeed.
And then if you're in the Mid-Atlantic, you'll be golfing with Andre on May 7th.
That's right.
All right, Andre. I'll see you then, brother. Well, my friend, thank you so much. We have learned a tremendous amount. I've learned a lot. I know that. So again, please reach out to the panelists if you want to join any of these amazing organizations. To our panelists, thank you guys. You are true experts. I can't thank you enough for coming on. And please tune in next Thursday. We are going to have Hyatt Corporation come in and talk to us about their new hybrid solution. That will be next Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific. I want to thank our audience. Please follow us at Meetings Made Easy on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We'll see you all next Thursday. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Good to see you. Bye.